Hello and welcome to Mike's Garage. If you've already subscribed to our channel, thank you very much. If you haven't, please do. And when you do, be sure and tap on the little notification bell so you'll be notified every time we put up a new video. And I said that whole thing without messing it up. Anyway, hi everybody. All's well here. Today was absolutely perfect weather in Southern California. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. The weather has been just gorgeous. Okay, enough of that. In our last video, I got the bearings all set in this wheel and the spacers and all of that stuff. We got all that done last time. What I have to do now is get the bike in here so I can set the offset of that rim and make the whole thing work together. And if I can get the bike down here, I'll do that and we'll show it. And there will be a few things I think to learn in there. Probably even a couple for me to learn because I've got to allow for the thickness of these flanges on these adapters. And if I have to do that, then I can show how to do it. And that'll be cool. What, I was going to show these? Yeah. Yeah, so we went from a 25 millimeter to a 3/4 inch axle.
That's what the kit, huh?
Yeah, it's just a little pair of bushings.
The kit?
Yeah, and they're stainless steel. They're beautifully made. They weren't real expensive. I thought they were pretty cool.
Somebody's got your phone.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm different than most people. I have no idea who this is.
Okay.
But they've been canceled.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Okay, so there it is. Power off. I apologize for the interruption. Anyway, so I promised in our next video I would have the heads back for the Knucklehead. And I do have them back, and today I was fooling around and I put one on and I said, okay, now look, you promised you'd show these heads. So I only put one on, and I have one more to put on. But basically what I wanted to do, don't worry about that, what I wanted to do was show what these heads are all about. Now, it would be nice to show one disassembled, but believe me, there are a lot of parts in these cylinder heads. Quit it. Anyway, here is the knuckle, the rocker box. And there are some really interesting things about these because the way they mixed all this together to make an overhead valve cylinder head took a lot of doing. This is some really old technology, and this was cutting edge technology for 1936 when they first designed these. These are later than 36s, but they're basically the same. Okay, let's look at the chamber. First off, like all good Harley overhead valve motors, it's a hemispherical chamber. Yeah. And look at the size of those valves. That look like it'll do the job?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is some serious stuff. Plus, these were cast iron heads.
That's the exhaust one, right?
FI stands for front intake.
Intake. How come it's bigger than the intake?
Wow. No, that is the intake valve, and this is the exhaust valve.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and then you get into, we're going to get into the science of valve sizes and stuff, and we're not going there. Yeah. Okay, now, this is the exhaust port here, so that comes right off the front of the motor where the pipe is, and you can see where the valves are, and the spring assemblies and all that is in here. Right here, these two are like brackets that are cast in. I've got cap nuts that go on these when I install it. But these brackets here are cast as part of the cylinder head. The rocker shafts go all the way through and over to the rocker box right here. And if we look in here, you can see in there, there's a shiny thing in there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, one of the things one of the reasons I didn't mess with these heads myself is because I'm really not proficient at doing them. And there are some ins and outs and things, and that shiny piece of metal in there I was talking about there's two shims here, and this rocker box is shimmed so that there's no stress on these cast iron brackets over here. So the whole thing is designed that way. And I mean, everything is made to fit, but the guy who's working on it is the one who fits it.
Learn something new every day.
Oh, it gets very involved. And the guy that I had do these does not advertise that he does this sort of thing. He did it for me as much for a favor as anything else. And I might add, he does a beautiful job.
Just tell him thank you right now.
Yeah, thank you goes out to whomever he may be.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's kind of the way some of this stuff is. But you can see the way this rocker box bolts on right here and in here. Okay, and in that one too, off of that same bolt, is the throttle cable goes on there. So that's kind of an exciting thing. These are really exciting motors. Now, these oil lines here are drains, and they have to be kept clear so the oil can drain from the top end. Now, I really thought when I was having an oiling problem here and I was puddling with oil, I was chasing it around trying to figure out what was wrong, and finally when I pulled the heads it became evident that the valve guides had actually moved. Now when the valve guides are put into this, unlike most motors, there's a gasket goes under that valve guide, and there's a metal piece which is the tins that cover the rocker arms. So the lower tins are actually held in on each end. They're held in by the valve guide, and then they go into the rocker box here where they go against seals here. Everything here is sealed up. Everything is hand fitted. These are the drains. The feed line comes right up here. You can see it on this one. This is where the feed line comes in, bringing oil to the rocker arms. And that will be on. What I'm going to do right now, I think, is set this head on here, which is about all I'm going to do, is set it on, put the bolts in. It's very cool.
Boy, you weren't kidding. It's very tight in there.
Yeah. Yep.
Only because it's a chopper frame, or is
No. There's nothing wrong there. No. This is just this. I'm not really ready to divulge all that.
No. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
I thought it was a factory thing.
No. But this thing is pretty well fitted together. The guys that built this thing back in the 60s, they did a beautiful job of putting this motorcycle together. And it was a show bike for, 50 years. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to keep this gasket from slipping, which it'll slip. No matter what I do, it's going to slip when I put the head on. But we'll get it. So here we go. That wasn't right. That wasn't right. That's right. There we go. Now another thing to remember anytime you're putting one of these motors together, be it a knucklehead, a panhead, shovelhead, the piston sticks up higher than the cylinder. So when you go to put the cylinder head on, you're going to hit that piston. So what you want to do is rotate the engine so the piston is down a little bit, which is what I have done here. Okay. Also, I didn't take the pipe off, so I'm going to have to set the head right onto that pipe again. While we're on the subject of pipes, and this is something that goes out to everybody with a panhead or a knucklehead, you need to support the pipes. To just leave them hanging from the heads is really bad. And on a knucklehead, they just shove up in there just like in the flatheads. A lot of guys drill a fin and they'll put a spring on there to hold that pipe up. They'll weld a bracket to the pipe and they'll put a spring in the fin, and And then they break out, and I hate that. So what I do is I do it, the way the factory did it. They put a clamp on the frame and a clamp on the pipe, and the bolt that holds either clamp shut is common to the two clamps.
Yeah.
You can't really see that one under there. It's too far under there. Okay, but this is a clamp and this is a clamp. The bolts go here, so you're only using one bolt and putting the clamp together like that or like that or like that. However it works best to get that pipe to hold in place. That way you're not tearing up a cylinder head. You're doing a good thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just kind of put this cylinder head in place because I can't wait anymore. I'm excited. I love to ride this motorcycle, and that's exactly what I want to do with it. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to tip it up just a little bit to pull that gasket back into place. Did that do it? I don't think so.
Close.
Yeah, close is not going to do it. There we go. Yeah, it's going to be show and tell with tools again.
Where's she got?
Right here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just a nice short little thing to work with. I'm going to show a couple of tools here now, actually. So we got that bolt in, got it started. And once we get two of them started, then we're good. We can put the rest of them in. There's only 5. Just like a pan or a shovel. But they're a little harder to get at.
Did you
Did I what?
seal it on the gaskets?
No. Did that one fall out?
I think it is.
I think it did too, yeah. I thought it had started, and it wasn't. Don't worry about it, I'll get it in a
It
minute.
fell out.
Yeah, I could see that. Okay, so here's one over here. And this one, I know, is in. I can feel it. Now watch me lift the head and have that bolt fall out. Oh, yeah. Oh, that one's happy. Okay. Okay, so we'll get 2 of them in there. That looked like it just lined up perfectly.
2 trains tonight.
Oh, yeah, we got the trains going tonight. There's lots of stuff going.
No, one's going one way and they're crisscrossing.
All right. Okay, so we got 2 of them in. And this little wrench I'm going to put on my torque wrench. And there's all kinds of ways to get that torque wrench to fit in there and get this done. One thing is you can put an extension on this and have the wrench clear up here if you want it, which works pretty good. The other thing is when you run out of space as you're tightening, you're pulling in and all of a sudden you don't have enough space. Take it off, flip it over, put it right back on again, and what happens is it'll put your wrench in a different position on the bolt. And it's designed to do that. Most people don't realize that that's the way a 12-point wrench is designed. You can flip it over, and all of a sudden you have a different position on the bolt. But one of the things I wanted to show, I have another wrench here that I think is a thing of beauty. Now, one of the things with these old things like a knuckle is that there aren't a lot of torque specifications. Nobody gives you a torque specification. Common sense is what has to do it. And I've got a buddy who used to build some very, very fast knuckleheads. And he would take a normal combination box open-end wrench, and he would reach in there and he would tighten those things on a knucklehead. He'd take it out, run it through some heat cycles, let it cool, then tighten it with a hand wrench. Now, he was a big guy, and I mean big arms, big everything. And I mean, he would tighten those things down. And I'd say, how do you know when they're tight enough? He says, when they won't tighten anymore. Okay. And he did it, and he built some beautiful knuckleheads. But I wanted to show this one. This one, the old term for this one happens to be a modern day snap-on wrench. Combination 9/16 and 5/8, so I can do head bolts, and I can even do
Nice.
cylinder nuts.
Very nice.
And this is referred to as a barrel wrench because that's what it was used for in the old days. So let's see. Let me get another bolt in there. Now it's funny, but showing this hopefully will keep somebody from getting frustrated because this is just routine stuff.
I thought you were going for the other one.
Well, I probably was. Maybe I got lost. I must have got lost. I must have got lost. Anyway, that's right. This is not a musical video, is it?
That's what I thought you were going for.
Okay. Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, well, I'm out of shape now.
Well, they're lining up perfectly, but see how nice this is to do this. I mean, we're not going to torque it with this. I'm going to do it with a torque wrench because I don't trust myself to get them that even. I mean, I can guess torques and stuff, and I find that by using my favorite ratchet that I've used forever, I can be pretty accurate. Pretty accurate's not good enough. I really want to use a torque wrench and make sure that I'm happy with these. And then everybody's saying, okay, Mike, what are you going to torque them to? Well, truth of the matter is, I'm using a snap-on torque wrench, and my brain tells me to torque them to 60 pounds, then run them a few heat cycles, torque them to 60 pounds, and then when I'm all done, I'll torque them to 65. And that's it.
Took it 3 times?
Oh, probably, you mean, I don't know what you mean by that. You mean by one installation?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm going to do them in about, oh, no, okay. First off, I'm going to do them, I'll torque them to 10 pounds. Then I'll take them to 20. Then I'll take them to 40. Then I'll take them to 60.
That's
okay? That's installation. Now, as far as break-in is concerned, I will run heat cycles and torque them down until I can't torque them anymore, which will be at about 65, okay? I mean, I could break them, I'm sure, but that's not the goal.
Okay.
But, yeah, I really don't like to have a hard, fast rule on that because, you know, when you torque them down and then you heat cycle them and then you go to retorque them and you find they come down a whole lot and you're going, whoa, what happened? I don't know, but they're even now and they're good. And, you know, things don't always go exactly as you'd like them to. So, you know, Now, another thing about these knuckleheads is they don't have a whole lot of slop in them. In other words, you can't rotate the heads a whole lot to fit the intake manifold. Now, knuckleheads originally had great big nuts and seals for the intake manifold.
Like a plumber's nut.
Yeah, they were, well, we used to call them plumber manifolds because they were like plumbing fittings. And the thing I like about them is they're beautiful. They're really, really pretty. Those big chrome nuts, and you got to use, in fact, there's a wrench just for those over there hanging on the wall. But I don't like to use them. As much as they look pretty, they're too hard to keep them from leaking. And anybody who rides one of these things much finds out in a hurry it's a whole lot better to buy the adapter kit, which Colony makes it, I think, and then you put on O-ring adapters, which is these. And it makes, you know, I like to get on this thing and go somewhere. I don't really want to experience a vacuum leak in the middle of nowhere and say, where do I get knucklehead seals for these?
Oh boy.
Yeah. Whereas the O-rings, they're Dash 55 O-rings that came out on panheads from 55 up. And then on shovel heads, they go on shovel heads on up to about 78, same O-ring. So anyway, I'm getting these just kind of seated. They're not really torqued down. And like I said, this barrel wrench is just so much fun.
Oh yeah.
It's a beautiful tool. It's fun to look at. But then I like looking at tools. And every time I use a tool and don't show it, I get complaints. Hey, you didn't show that tool. What was that? Okay, what number is that? It's an SBX 1820.
Okay. Where's your glasses?
I think that, good question. I still haven't had that other eye finished. That's coming up in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, what does that say?
Read the number.
It's an SBX 1820.
Got it.
SBX, yeah, I think that's it. You know, when I grow up, they'll fix that eye, and everything will be fine. If I close the left one and just use the good one, SBX 1820, that's easy. I forget to close one eye.
Oh, you found the handlebar.
Yeah, well, I didn't do it with my eye. Anyway, so that's it for now, I think. Let me get this little one here and I can finish getting that bolt up there. And then, like I said, there are any combination of ways to get that torque wrench in there. And what we're going to do is I'll get this head down, and in our next video maybe we'll put the push rods in and do a bunch of neat little things. I'll have to mount the oil line and put the intake manifold and the motor mount on, so I think it'll be a fun video because I'm putting my knucklehead back together. Okay, other than that, I want to get this bolt up here all the way. And I'm just about there. I remember in the old days, all of a sudden, one of the guys I worked with got an air ratchet. And so we used to put on head bolts with an air ratchet, which is just really nasty as far as I'm concerned. But I could install a top end on a shovel head in an hour and a half. That was, yeah. At that point, I got the nickname Top End. That was my nickname in that shop in about 1980, 81, somewhere in there. It was a shop in North Long Beach. Anyway, so we've got all 5 of these down now. And that's good enough, and I'll torque them later. I'm curious, before I go any further, I want to know that the intake manifold is a fairly close fit, and it is certainly acceptable. When I get that one torqued down, it'll fit a little bit better because that'll torque down and take up some more gap. As you tighten it down, they get a little closer together. So,
Okay.
yeah, but you see on knuckleheads, they don't give you as much slop. Now on a flathead, they tell you in the book to line up your intake manifold by loosening the cylinder studs,
Oh.
the nuts on the cylinder studs on a flathead. I don't get much movement out of this thing, so that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. It's just that, gee, I got a pretty good, not a bad fit.
What about shovels?
That's another story entirely. I don't want to go there. We're trying to tell a knuckle here.
Yeah.
Okay, shovel heads, I always explain the heads move quite a bit.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
That's what I wanted to mention. That's why these don't.
I got it.
Okay, good. Then it was a good question. Thank you, sir. Okay, next thing I wanted to say, because that's as far as we're going tonight, is have a look at our shirts. And by all means, if you go to our website, which is pacificmike.com, in the upper right-hand corner, it says shirt shop. I believe it says t-shirt shop. You click on that, and you can order shirts.
Hey, 2 of them look like you.
How embarrassing. Anyway, and we also have we have baseball caps. That's done. Those are embroidered. And anyway, there's, of course, this motor that we're putting together right now, which is on the front of that shirt. And I'm really pleased with the detail on it. You can really see the detail in that picture.
Let's see if we can do it without the zoom.
I don't know. It's just to have that much detail in a T-shirt. Same thing with Baby Doll's picture.
All right, green light saying it's coming in perfect. Okay, let's go over here. And the camera likes it.
But Christmas is coming, so by all means, give a T-shirt for Christmas or a baseball cap.
Yeah, embroidered. These are nice. I like
Yeah, they
mine.
are. Yeah, I know. They're pretty neat. Anyway, so that's it for now. I don't know what else. And like I said, we'll be showing more on this knuckle motor as it goes back together. And until then, I'll see you out on the road.